You can
Are
see
you?
me
I can see you.
and I can hear you. This is great. Hey,
Good.
God, I am so happy to meet you.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank
Wow,
you.
this is fantastic. I'm really, really excited about this. I just got back from my walk. Did you go for your walk this morning?
I did. Yeah, beautiful walk.
Awesome.
It's
How
getting
was
uh
how's the weather?
it's getting warmer.
Good, good.
Still
Same
in
here.
the minus, you know what I'm saying? But -1. Not that bad.
Oh,
Celsius. Celsius.
oof. And I'm in Casa Grande, Arizona, so we're completely opposite here.
All right.
All right.
So tell me your story, Jay. You know the drill. Tell me your seeking story and what got you here.
All right. Well, my story really started more like 5 years ago, after my alcoholism stopped. I stopped it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, simple. I went ahead and taught myself how to grow mushrooms and the whole process, did a hero dose. And after it was all over, I could not stand drinking anymore. I
Wow.
mean, I
Is the hero
haven't
dose
had
like
five
10
years.
grams, right? 10 grams or
It
more?
was 5 grams actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought that was a hero dose. And
Okay.
and seriously, after that, I have not had any desire whatsoever. 5 years.
Amazing.
That's about when this all started. I started by, online,
Mhm.
just seeing videos of different people. Back then, started with Eckhart Tolle. Then it moved on to Adyashanti, Paul Fetterman,
Mhm.
Paul Hederman. Paul Hederman is the only one I've about spoken to with the subject being non-duality, period. Nobody else
Okay.
ever. I've never done retreats. I've read a few books.
Mhm.
After Paul then was a short time, then I progressed, or rather, it just moved on to Muji, uh, and that was like after a short couple of weeks. I was laughing at it. Um, Moved on. Really, I just want to go to where I have been recently, and the last four people that I really paid attention to, um, I have to say, were Tony Packer, um, Joan Tollefson, Daryl Bailey, and Robert Saltzman.
Okay.
And so we're talking some, I guess, that's some serious non-duality, but
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I love Joan. Yeah.
All the Tony Parsons people and all that. Yeah, I went through those guys and all that. They're like duplicates of each other. It's something else.
Yeah.
But and then how I stumbled upon you. Well, I actually saw a couple of videos of you doing interviews and stuff years ago,
Mhm.
um, during these 5 years.
Yeah.
It was more way back then. I
Yeah.
hadn't seen any one-on-ones until recently. And then I started watching a few one-on-ones, and I got it just became apparent that I really couldn't listen or read anymore from those people at all. I still have a copy of 10,000 Things from Saltzman, and
Yeah.
um, I bought it because I gave the original one that I read to my daughter-in-law at Christmas when she came to visit and saw the book on the table.
Mhm.
And I said, "You're interested?" She asked 3 times about it, so I just handed it to her. I thought,
Yeah.
I need to get that back because that's information that's important. And it's like, once I got the book, to be honest with you, I opened up the cover, set it on a table, and I haven't touched it since. I have not. I mean, I had no interest. So once I started seeing the one-on-ones, I saw a couple here and there, and um, then on Tuesday of this last week, at that point I had already seen 22 of them, um, and I decided let's book it. So I went ahead and booked it. And so since then, I've been watching and listening to more. Yesterday, my heart kind of got ripped out when I watched the one that you did with Rob in Georgia, and he's
Oh
got the
yeah,
dog.
yeah.
He's got his dog T, and it's just that I lost my dog, or my dog. I had to put my dog down about 8 months ago, and had him for 4 years. I adopted him. He was a basset hound. That was after I was fostering for 4 years. I was fostering for Arizona Basset Hound Rescue. And I really enjoyed that. But during the pandemic, I just didn't feel comfortable because I kept having to interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told him, forget it, I'll just adopt him and adopt him. And it wasn't a week later, he got sick.
Oh,
And so I had to deal with his different illnesses, ears, all kinds of different things for those 4 years. And then finally it was too much. And it was too much for him. And so that was it. It was very hard on me. Um,
yeah.
it, and I have really haven't wanted to get a dog since. And then after I watched you and Rob yesterday, I thought, I really might be a good idea to go ahead and I know they foster dogs, the local rescue, and I'm thinking, I think I might go and step in because the only thing I didn't get rid of, as far as dogs, I threw everything out and gone. I kept the dog door, and it's a giant one because
Oh,
bassets are big,
yeah.
and the bassets I dealt with were normally 100 pounds, 85 pounds. They're big dogs. And so, anyway, the dog door's still there, and I think it's an invitation. We'll see. Um,
Yeah.
but I
My,
think
my
that's the direction I'll go.
yeah, when my dog died, it was really heartbreaking, right? It was just and I cried and cried and
San Miguel?
San Miguel, yeah, he was just one of the most beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Just he was there throughout all of this seeking and everything. And even that think about that initial awakening. I was looking at him basically. He was just very unconditional to everybody. He didn't care if you were shooting up heroin on the street or which was what was happening basically. And then that's when my heart opened and I saw everything as what we can't say.
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, I had to give him up because of my suffering. My brother was taking care of him. I know it's so heartbreaking too. But the last 2 years of his life was just the most beautiful, right? Because it's almost like there was an instant forgiveness,
Yeah.
right? Like even if I abandoned him because I could not take care of him anymore. That's when the seeking gets into severe suffering, right? So um, I'm glad that you saw the videos, and I'm glad that you're getting another dog because when I got another dog, it was just 2 months after, and the moment that I saw that Ella Bella smile, I'm like, okay, that's it. That's
Yeah.
perfect. And now we have our epic walk. She's white every time that we walk because it's 2 hours, right? And she
Well,
loves it. She smiles the whole time, right? So, and there is we I live in a place now that there is an off leash walking park basically.
great.
So all the dogs are walking and rolling around in the snow, and she's just super super happy, right? So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
So seeking, right, is just it's just a word to try to get us to the next. But when we start seeing that the next is just a thought,
Mhm.
and then the past is just a thought, then this got to be here. When we rip apart all of the words, when we take the language out, what's here? What do you without language at this moment?
It's so much easier without it.
Yeah. Because we get so convoluted, we get so um, drowned in words and language, right? That we there's if you've ever kind of like listened to non-duality, fight night or whatever, like it's like UFC Royal Rumble basically, right?
Mm,
Everybody's wrestling with the paradox.
yeah.
Yeah, but the paradox is there's no paradox really. So at this very instance, what do you believe if you cannot go to the past or future?
Nothing.
Yeah. And even if you take away the word nothing, what's left? And you know this from sobriety, it's sobriety at this moment. We get intoxicated with the past and the future. And then there are words that we hold on to. And the one day, you know what I'm saying? The next, the enlightenment, the awakening, all of that kind of stuff, right? If you pull the curtain of words, which is the veil of illusion, what do you have? So there's this argument about self or no self. So what's between self and no self?
The same.
Yeah. It's like that sobriety that just keeps on unfolding. As it's been 5 years for you, you know that it's a gradual unfolding. Like every day becomes clearer, basically.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the next stage of your sobriety from the conceptual ideas of what life is. What we cannot call anything is just a flow.
Yeah.
And it's flowing, right? It's just and then the moment that we think back and forth, right, we're thinking in linear back and forth, right? And um, then we're missing this humble, grand appearance. No, we can't even call that. You know what I'm saying? And it just silences all the chatter.
Mm-hmm.
Even when there's chatter, there's the silence, basically. And then the argument about anything becomes a moot point. What's to argue about? And life just becomes this humbling appearance of something so grand that we can't comprehend it because we're so busy thinking about what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the simplicity, right? It's so direct. What are you without language? And what do you believe at this instance? You will never find it because there's no you or not you to get there, right? Because it's already here. It's all here. Everything is here. And that's saying way too much, right? So, because we've been kind of like looking this way, and then we can, you know, and everything just, oh, yeah, I was speaking too much for quite a while. Even when this was the end, I just didn't know who to talk about it. So I joined forces with this great guy named Noel, and we started Nothing Media. We did a Nothing conference. I met everybody, Robert, Joan. You know what I'm saying? I was just really fanboying. I was just a fanboy, but there was already clarity. I just didn't know how to express it. Paul Hederman, everybody's great, right? And but we had to divide the stage. There was an everything stage and there was a nothing stage. And the nothing stage, which was more radical, and then the everything stage was more kind of like all include whatever, right? So what's in between everything and nothing?
It's unspeakable.
Mm-hmm. And again, it ruins the seeking, right? Because the moment that you read words of authors,
Yes. Open your mouth and
yeah. It's wild, right? Because um, even when I was speaking a lot, about this, there was always, even a no position is a position. Even know me is just another knowing, right? And if we're really, really honest, all the words are fabrication. So why do we hold on to words? So this came about when I was just I'm like, okay, I there was 100 people and there was an opportunity, a chance that I will never see them again, right? Because they probably will not be able to afford this. Someone basically um sponsored a whole bunch of them. So I went in many different angles, and what worked basically is just this in betweenness. Like, how do I express this without me over explaining everything? How do I express this? So the best way is just one on one.
yeah.
Go directly, meet people where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, somebody will have a belief in, all this is all God, or somebody will have a non-belief, which is basically kind of like an atheism. But both are just beliefs.
Yeah.
So what's between a belief and a non-belief?
Unspeakable.
Mm-hmm. Like even if there's a book about the unspeakable, we start believing the unspeakable.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be a direct, a directness like this, right? Yeah. As beautiful as many words and language, it can only take you so far. And then on to the next, and the next again, and the next, right? So then you just become a part of the non-duality book club.
Yeah.
And everybody discusses what this book is about and everything. But it's just fiction. Everything is fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
Even how eloquently someone can explain the ineffable, they're still words. Or even how clear someone is expressing that there's nothing here, they're still words. And the words can only take you so far. So you can either go into nihilistic, parade,
Yeah. No.
or a devotional, thing. So I take the power away from the speaker and just step down on any pedestal and just go directly, right? Because what's the point of speaking to masses when everybody's looking up at you?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know what, there's a quiet revolution that's happening. There's people, I'm getting people now that are saying that, hey, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what you're doing. I'm like, awesome. And I don't put any kind of, any kind of barriers to it or ownership, because it's kind of like, what do you call it again? It's a freebie. You know what I'm saying? It should be an open source.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should. I don't mind paying you for this whatsoever. You need to live. And I totally understand that. And when I saw the prices, I thought, oh my God, I can afford this. And
Yeah.
it was exciting. And so I want to thank you for that because I know
Yeah.
that you did that for people like me. I'm retired. I don't work anymore,
Yeah.
but that can change. And I'm really healthy. That can change.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, I just wanted to more
Someone
than
said that
any.
you can probably charge $500 now based on what you do, and I'm like, no, 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 let's make it
Oh
affordable.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
easily, no
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
But there's so many people out there that it's I'm saying I'm yeah. There you go. I'm thinking again.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
It's a part of it, right?
yeah, it is. It's not
It's a
outside of it. It's everything is included. There's no
Yeah,
question.
yeah. The tendency for a lot of practitioners is try to get rid of it, right? Try
No,
to go
no,
to non-doership, basically. So what's between doership and non-doership? Or if you go to kind of like a radical, way of expressing this, then everybody's correcting your words. There's no me, right? And it's just become almost kind of like a very fundamentalist orthodox,
right,
Yeah.
right. Because I mean, hey, you and I were both raised Catholic, and
Yeah.
I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school. I was an altar boy. I was an Eagle Scout. I'm the oldest of four kids. My mom is still
I
alive.
forgot
She's
about that. I was a Boy Scout at one point too.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. My mom's still alive. She's 89, living in a group home. I see her every few weeks, and she's doing okay. But she's still training. It's still the language is still there. The
Yeah. And if you
it's
go
like
to group homes, you start noticing people that have dementia,
yeah, yeah,
and we're gonna lose all of these words anyway. What are we holding on to now? Right?
true,
Whether at their
true.
last breath or slowly begin to lose it, basically, right? So again, right, if you look at this beautiful appearance called language, it's not about dismissing it, right? Because language is beautiful. I can get into, but you can also say that it's like a play, right? You can't carry the play back with you.
Yeah,
It's always just It's for entertainment purposes only. I had this I was on a psychedelic trip one day, and I saw the whole world come back into a simplicity. There was a child, right? And a child created an opposite so that the opposite can communicate back and forth. They created language, but the opposite is imaginary, and the language is made up. And then it became a mist. You know what I'm saying? I was just, I think I was coming off from a mushroom, you know, and when there's just visuals and beautiful, kind of stuff, right? So there's many hints about this, right? It's like when we come into this world, apparently, um, we come bright-eyed, crying, laughing, smiling, and then we start learning language, and then we lose the language. It's almost like an illusory bookend into the infinite. It's a great play. It's beautiful. But before it becomes a tragic comedy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it gets really relentless, the seeking. I don't know if you got to that point where you were just devouring stuff on the internet.
Yeah, for a short time it was, but I have found myself in the last 6 months or so not as intense. In fact, I'd have to say when I started to see your one-on-ones, I was to a point where I wasn't checking in with Joan or I wasn't checking in with Robert or it just didn't I lost interest and I just got tired of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It did some I would have to say the word is exhaustion is
Yeah, that's what
right
it
there.
is. When people are
You just
usually
get
exhausted, they usually find me on the algorithm. I'm usually the last resort, speaker.
oh man. Okay.
Yeah. I hear this all the time, right? It's kind of like when they've tried everyone and everything. They're like, "Oh, what is this? What is this clown with a hat and glasses?" You know what I'm saying?
No, no.
But no, but it's great. It's great because it's all of that is wonderful. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like I love Joan. She's great. I don't know if you've ever talked to her in one-on-one. She's a great person. She's a
And
great,
she
great
can put
person.
out the words, can't she? I mean, wow. Okay, you got a book there as a newsletter, young lady. It's like, what's going on? And I'm starting to read through it, and it's like, I've read that before. I read that before. Scroll, scroll, scroll. There's nothing new here. There's never going to be anything new.
No, yeah, yeah.
It's just words.
Everything is just a rehash, right?
Oh yeah.
Everything that we say is not original. Even thinking that you're an original is so not original. You know what? So there's just I just don't take it seriously. And people when people ask me why do you laugh so much, I'm like I just find the absurdity of this, right? Because it's um or yeah, it's just laughable, right? Because here we are getting so caught up in words and everything, and we might get caught up again in words, but the moment that we sleep at night, where are they? Yeah. Someone was asking me, do I dream in language? I'm
Hmm.
like, well, the moment that you think about it, there's a language to it already, right?
And that's going to the past too. So there
That's
we
going to
go.
the past. Yeah, yeah. The moment they go to the past, right? And again, even our memories is like a dream if you look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just think that it happened.
So, and your memory is so manipulative. The
Oh, it
mind is.
is.
And I was just scrolling through, I was just looking at something yesterday and I saw one graphic and I was just scrolled down just 5 or 6 seconds later. And all of a sudden my mind decided to go ahead and do something with that graphic. And then it went into nihilism. It did.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whoa, 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 where did you go? What's going on? And
Yeah.
that noticing, yes, I can see that those other those speakers, because I'm not considering you a speaker whatsoever, but those speakers, the last four, it was always notice this, notice this.
Yeah.
That really did kind of help me start not separating things, but seeing the differences.
Yeah.
And since then, it's so much easier to catch it and
Yeah.
not discard it, but understand that it's part of everything else. That
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't need to, your mind doesn't need to be swimming in it. Just realize that's what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost kind of like stepping back rather than being fully be immersed in it, right? It's almost like,
Yes.
wait a second, right? Oh, okay. My social media. I'm not really a big social media person. Um, it's just full of music. The algorithm is just music, music, music.
Of
Until
course.
someone sent me a couple of days ago, no, yesterday, um, a politics thing. What do you think of this, Emerson? And then all of a
There we
sudden, the
go.
politics, and I basically can like, nope, I don't want to see that. You know what? Like you can because
The algorithm is going to be
I'm
like
just so
that for the next few
indifferent to it,
days.
right? I don't even have any opinions anymore in it, right? So I just wanted my algorithm back to music, you know what I'm saying? And maybe
Yeah.
dancing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because the moment that I get it's so easy to be stuck in that mud again, right? When you pull out, you see clarity, right? It's like, okay. It's like you're in a lake and the moment that you splish around, you walk around, mud rises again, right? Um,
Yeah.
if you turn left or turn right or just stay still, right? So, and then all of the dust or the mud settles and you're like, oh, okay. It's just mud, right? It's just mudslinging. Everybody's just mudslinging. And that's this beautiful um expression, right? It's just a whole bunch of opposites, 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 opposites. So you get blinded by the opposites that you don't see that it's fabricated, that it's all a construct, right? So when you go in between, you're like, okay, the tool that I have in trying to figure this out is also dualistic. So the moment that I believe that this is a thousand things or nothing or no thing, then I'm taking a position.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah. And it's so
Landing.
easy it's a landing, right? It's even if it's a soft landing, it's easy to write a thousand essay about that landing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when someone differs in opinion with you, it's easy to put them down, right?
Yeah. I can see that easily with social media and with the politics and all that.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
soon as even just even if it was a newspaper or listening to the radio, once you start hearing any of it, boom, there's a landing. Oh, there's an opposite. It's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
I
And
turn it
it's
off.
both a play, right? For example, what I saw yesterday. So one side supports this completely. They're like, oh, that's right. And then the other side supports the other person. So people don't see, for example, if your algorithm is just supporting this person, then that's all you'll see, right?
Yeah,
And then if you're supporting the other person, you won't see the opposite idea of it. So it's almost like you're fed
oh
duality, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Take sides, basically. You have to take a side.
I was raised to take a side.
That's right. I was trained to do this, right? I was trained to do this.
Yeah,
And there will
and
just,
I was told it was out of survival. I
yeah,
know that,
yeah.
but it's not true.
When you can tread lightly into this, whatever this is, you know what I'm saying? And just be at peace with whatever seems to appear, right? And be at peace when you're bothered to be at peace when anger comes, right? um, it's almost kind of like a reset into the thinking that I have to support my anger or I have to get rid of it. I have to accept this or I have to reject it. So what's between acceptance and rejection? It's like beating the mind in its own game, isn't it? Right? Because
Mhm.
the mind is always going to say, well, that's right or wrong, right? That can't be it. Or even when you say it's just this, the mind has landed on just this.
Yep.
So it's between just this and not just this.
It's unspeakable.
Yeah.
When I was walking this morning, I there was a lot of quiet.
Mhm.
I'd have to say 90% was quiet.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was just nothing going on. And at one point, about three-quarters of the way through the walk, I get to walk through farms, not through farms, but around farms around here. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just, the quiet, those words just came at one point, at that point. And this hasn't happened before. I just started crying.
Yeah.
And it didn't, it wasn't, I just started bawling. It's like, whoa. And I didn't stop walking. I just kept walking. And it's like, yes, that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not to be left out. And I will tell you this, that after that, I felt, I felt joy after that. I don't know why, but I felt free of something, or just maybe I was just more relaxed and wasn't tense. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it sure felt good to cry.
It
But
is,
do I
isn't
cry
it?
often? I don't cry very often anymore. I tend to stop myself. I don't know why, but pushing down the pushing it down.
Yeah.
That's what I think I'm doing, but
Well, we're
whatever.
Catholic. We're trained to do that too. You know, there's
We're
something
Catholic. Thank
shameful
you.
about that.
I remember, a few days ago
I
I was
was
thinking
trained not to cry actually because I'm the eldest son of there's five. So are you the eldest son as well?
I'm the oldest of four.
Yeah, I'm the eldest of five, right? So four boys and one girl. And
Oh, three boys, one girl.
oh wow. And we both love our moms. We already established that. And
Yeah.
so when we used to go to my uncle who's a dentist, um, my uncle has he passed already. He had giant hands and he was not gentle, for little kids' mouth, right? So it was painful going to him. So
Mm.
my mom or my dad said, "Don't cry because your brothers will not do this if you cry." So here I
Mm.
am, kind of like doing everything that I can not to cry, just trying to, you know, internalize that pain, and the moment that tears would come, I'll be wiping it right away, right? So it's pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. So for quite a while, right, I would need to watch a movie about dogs to cry. You know what I'm saying? Have you seen some of those dog movies? You know what I'm saying? Oh
Mm.
my
No.
goodness. I cry until I'm biting my finger because my not to sob basically, right? So there's a one with Richard Gere. You have to watch it. It's about this loyal dog that just followed him in a train in Japan. And even watch it. I can't remember the title, um, but it's a great, great movie. So now I see the sunrise, I see the sunset, and it's just instant tears, right? It's like I'm like, damn it, here it is again. But no more controlling it or pushing it down. It's just like with a big smile. People probably in the park think that I'm insane, walking, like it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I intentionally went to see the sunrise this morning. I didn't get, I went to one of the places that I normally walk to. It's just an open area where I can see the sun rise and I don't have to deal with houses or anything like that. And there's tons and tons of palm trees as a
Oh,
as a
beautiful.
horizon, because Palm Creek retirement community is right there, and the sunrise is just above that, and there's all these palms, and there's just enough clouds so that you could still look at the sun and it didn't burn. And I was wearing my sunglasses,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and
Yeah.
I thought, okay, and I thought, wow, I'm in my walking area. No, I'm not going to go walk now. And a little bit later, I took off and went for my hour walk, and in the same area. It is gorgeous. I saw some people with their dogs walking and said hi to them and went as I walked by. I thought, I know they have to walk their dogs because they have that's one of the things that's holding me back. It's like I have to take them out to go walk him. And there were just so many things that taking care of the dog that was really, really sick. I guess it
Yeah.
just kind of hangs on to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay, it will unfold.
Yeah.
Everything unfolds, right? So yeah, it's the moment that Ella Bella wakes up, she has a smile right away because
Yeah.
she knows it's gonna be a great day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
she's accustomed to the
You're
2 hour
there.
walk. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 2 hour walk, right? She's gonna go run. She kind of like, scuttles her little butt into that front door and just waits, smiling,
Yes.
waiting for her harness to be put on, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's just to have a companion, you know what I'm saying, that's quiet, you know what I'm saying, and loving, walking with you. And can sit when I sometimes when it's warmer out, I just sit under a tree and just sometimes it's a couple of hours just sitting down there, right? Because there's just so much clarity, uh, so much peace, right? And it's beautiful, right? And yeah, I'm glad that you found, um, right here.
Yeah.
It's here. Yeah. It's without a next, you can't lose it. The next
Hmm.
is just a thought. Yeah.
And it's okay
And it's
to have
okay.
those.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. It's not about getting rid of them, right?
Right.
That's people are like, oh, you know what? The in between actually is just to show that the opposites are not there. So therefore there's no in between. It's just a trick for the mind to go, oh my goodness, I've been in a trance or a spell of the mind, basically, right? And if you look at a mind, it's just a thought. And if you go behind a thought, what's there? It's back to this, right?
And
It's just so simple. The simplicity of it is just so striking, is so immediate that the thought wants to go to avoid it. It's
mhm.
almost like a trick to go to the next. It's kind of like that, like the social media algorithm. The moment that you buy into, a position,
Yeah. then
then it's going to, yeah, nonstop, right? How about this? How about that? And all of a sudden, you're wearing a tinfoil hat. You know what I'm saying? It's always goes into that rabbit hole of thinking, right? It's always an opportunity to go that or to go into this infiniteness and look at the sun and see if that's really the sun if you don't call it the sun.
Mm.
Or is there really a sun rising? So when the word loses its name, then tears immediately come, you know what I'm saying? And laughter erupts out of nowhere because there's no mind saying that you should not cry or why are you laughing? It's inappropriate, all that kind of stuff, right? So that weight, that hold loosens and there's just this flow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a lot like sobriety from substances or alcohol because we get caught up in the high of it, right? Where the opposite of addiction is connection. We just
And
think that we're disconnected.
that's what I've been since I was a baby. I've been addicted,
Yeah,
to thoughts, to words, to drugs, to alcohol, to interactions with people that I didn't want to have,
yeah.
but the
To people
connection.
please, did you people please as well?
Oh God, don't go there. Do not go there. I did some things for periods of time for people that they have, oh, just, I put everything out there for some people that I really, really cared about. And it's like, why? And I look back and it's like, hey, I did what I did. And that's one thing that I can't wait for that to just to cease the regret.
Yeah,
That regret is it's BS. And
Yeah. So what's between regret and no regret?
unspeakable.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to toss and turn about regrets too. And I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I become such a doormat? Right? It's yeah.
Married and divorced twice.
Yeah.
I have a son and
Yeah.
he's doing very, very well. And I have a
Oh, that's great.
granddaughter, and granddaughter is 11 years old. She's into cheer. She just got braces. My
Awesome.
son, my son was just in an accident a week and a half ago. He called me the next day and said, Dad, I got T-boned,
Oh no.
but he's fine, no injuries.
Oh wow, that's good.
I know. And he's my financial advisor as well, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is. No, he said when I left work because I couldn't trust, it was COVID still. I still wear a mask everywhere that I go. I just do. I don't know if that'll ever stop, but everywhere I go outside of my house, I wear a mask.
And
And
that's
even my
okay if it
mother,
stops or if it doesn't. It's just what it is, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Be at peace with it, right? Or be at peace not. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Be at peace no matter what, right? So that's what it is. Again, um, yeah. He's
but
okay though, right? Your son.
I haven't been sick in 5 years.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody else is right now. There's all kinds of different respiratory crap going on around here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to worry about it because I'm wearing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I eat well. By the way, you hit hard in vegans. And it's like, oh, okay. I eat whole food, plant-based, but it has nothing to do with animals.
Yeah.
Nothing. But you said something the other day, or said something on a video that I didn't understand. You said something about eating meat, and you said something about the fact that that's just, I don't think you said it was just a thought, or it's not. It was something that it wasn't true about animals, eating animals being bad. Um, I didn't understand it. I know where I'm coming from, and it's just health wise. I know it's better if I eat what I eat and what's it goes back to what you asked in the very beginning about, your story and what brought you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
What brought you here is basically everything that's happening. What brought me here is why I eat the way I eat. What brought me here is why I'm in front of you right now. What
Yeah.
brought me
Beautiful.
here is why I had a great walk this morning. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with me. There's not it. This person,
Yeah.
this is here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, lately I've been eating a lot more veganish food because I live by myself now, right?
yeah,
So I eat a lot of salads. My fridge is basically salad, lots of
yeah,
salad. It feels great. You know what I'm saying? It feels great.
yeah. It's
Um,
just the thing that too is the preparation. I'm in the kitchen a lot, and
yeah,
I live by myself. And the reason I'm in the kitchen a lot is because I'm preparing food for me. When I
yeah,
had Albert, I was preparing food for him because
yeah,
all the food that I was buying was crap. And so I made food for him and I made
yeah,
food for me and I was in the kitchen even more. And there's no there's
yeah.
no mind or thinking during that
No, no,
because
not at all. Yeah,
it's out of love for me, for him.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's just there's an automaticness here that we don't catch because the thought is almost like it's a lag. If you notice it, the mind is behind.
Yes.
It catches up to what's happening and tries to
Yes.
express it
It
as
tries.
it tries. Yeah, yeah. So in that so when you capture that flag, right? You're like, oh shoot.
Okay.
That's what happened with me, right? Is because I was so there was just no release from the mind. I was tortured by it. I would wake up thinking at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I can't go to sleep. And then I would get some sleep. And then the moment I wake up, there it is again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like it was just the most painful thing psychologically.
Yeah.
And so I was about to have a panic attack. And rather than doing what I used to do was try to meditate, um, listen to non-duality things, do a mantra. I just went directly to what I love, which is DJing. And then
Yeah.
that gap, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of like it was an entry point, and I was like, wait a second, I can't find Emerson. What the hell? Or it's kind of like you enter the door. Again, this is just a story. Enter the door into the infinite. You're like, what the hell was I thinking?
You're doing
And
that when you're dancing too.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
I do it too.
yeah,
I get something. Oh, by the way, I discovered Weezer like about 7 months ago. I missed them. I
yeah,
missed them probably in all my drinking. I missed a lot of stuff in my drinking and also in working just to, you know, the next. But all of a sudden um, I'll catch a song by Weezer or U2. I'm just into it. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. I
I'm
love
so
Weezer.
grateful that I'm
Yeah,
physically able to dance like I do because I love it.
yeah.
Dance in
For
every single way. I can squat for long periods of time, not because of meditation, but because it's better for the body. It's
you,
really,
if your mom is in her 80s, you must be what? How old are
I'm
you, Jay?
66.
You look great. Holy crow.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you look great.
Thank you.
Salted vegetables, you know what I'm saying, and all the whole foods that you eat. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. My dentist told me that he saw me because I've been going to him for over 20 years. He's a triathlete.
yeah,
And yeah, he said almost the same thing over the last 5 years. He said, you were close to death. And
yeah,
I asked, what are you talking about? He says, no, I see people all the time. And you were headed that direction. I asked him, what do you mean? He said, your color, how you looked, your skin, you were dying. It's like, oh my God, I had no idea.
yeah.
So
Wow.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
You just turned around, right, over the past 5 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, the biggest addiction was the seeking, right? And
Yeah.
because I thought I got it, and then I lost it. And it's just the most um horrific, the most that feeling that you failed as a human being
Yeah.
because you've attained something that is apparently because you romanticize enlightenment. So when you get it and then when you lose it, right? It's like at one point I felt like I was the biggest piece of shit on the planet because I've lost something that everybody wants and I squandered it basically, right? So here I was like in overdrive trying to look for it, the next, and yeah, you know what? When there was this directness, I was dancing around, I was doing cartwheels, I was like a little kid again. Um, I've always danced as a kid, you know what I'm saying? And then I rediscovered dancing. I did dancing when I was, more intoxicated, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But the dancing occurs now every night, sober, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and I DJ too, so I listen to a lot of dance music, and I'm like, oh, that's such a great track. So my rating for the track is if I can dance to it, it's on my list. It's on my DJ set basically, right? So if I, like I don't even, I'm like it's so danceable. So that's just
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just it. Yeah, yeah. And then you know
God,
what? And then
I
when I
hated
when
that
I
music in
when
high
I
school.
yeah,
In high school, the music that I hated the most
yeah,
was the music you couldn't dance to. We were at dances, and it's like, and then you're in the middle of dancing with somebody that, you're trying to, score with and all that. And the
yeah.
song all of a sudden goes to a direction that you can't dance to this. What do you do?
When the
So
DJ
I'm with you.
ruins it, right? When the DJ kind of like, you know what, there's a good song, and then he puts on a song that like, what's that song? It kind of like the DJs call it the floor killer,
Yeah.
basically, right? It just empties, you know,
Yeah.
you're playing bangers and bangers, and then all of a sudden, the floor just kind of like parts like the ocean,
Like
you
the
know what I'm
sea.
saying? Like the sea.
You're Noah.
That's right. Yeah.
Moses. I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
Moses, yeah. And you're
Moses.
like,
Yep.
oh, damn it, I ruined it. So I don't have that anymore, right? Because I'm you know what? I always pride myself. I'm like, I can play banger after banger after banger because I know
Yeah.
because I've danced to them.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So it makes you dance. You know what? It makes everybody dance. There's a universality to that. And yeah,
And
uh,
there's no thinking in the dancing.
no,
You're just
even
moving,
in
and
with
it feels
the,
good to move that way. Let's do that more. Let's do this more. It's like, yes, I'm worn out at the very end. It's like, what just happened?
yeah,
And I just smile, you know? It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's the same thing with DJing. People think it's a very technical. It is technical, but
Yeah.
when you're in the midst of it, it just flows like automatic, right? It's just, it's like no one's doing it basically. It's the same thing with people that are playing guitar, people that are playing piano, right? Or people playing basketball or golf or something.
Yeah.
Unless it becomes competitive. When you
Oh,
add the ego into it, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. And then you got competition. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's this amazing DJ that he was just coming up with this beautiful tracks that made everybody dance, right? And then he got really, really popular. And then the producers, signed him for millions of dollars or something. That's when the trouble started, right? So the producers are now waiting a hit after hit after hit after hit. And then they said that people should be able to dance within 8 seconds. And he goes, I'm an artist. You don't dictate what I do. You know what I'm saying? This is a flow for me. And then of course the guy ended up kind of like eventually killing himself, right? But and then he started seeking. And one of my DJ friends goes, I wish that DJ got a hold of you, Emerson,
Yeah.
because you know about DJing, that pressure basically of making sure that you're making everybody happy. So if you're a people pleaser, it will kill you basically doing
Yeah.
this art stuff, right? So because who are you going to please now?
That's why I stopped photography. I mean, I enjoyed it, but there's always that one thing. It's like, oh, this will look good to somebody else. And it just kept going like that. And finally, I said, I'm done taking pictures. And I did it for years. And I spent a lot of money on cameras and all that. There's, and I have a lot of those photos still. That's good and fine. But the thing is, I I felt like I was people pleasing every time I picked up the camera. Every time I looked through
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. And that's the same thing with me playing piano, right? So my dad got me a piano when I was young. And then he used to go with the senators. He worked as the chief accountant for the Senate of the Philippines, and they were drinkers basically, right? So they wake me up and then they would ask me to play My Way by Frank Sinatra. So here I'm playing piano, so it's people pleasing, right? So now I play the piano just for myself.
ah,
Yeah. And I compose songs and I have so many songs composed, but I don't have any intention of releasing it. It's just I just love it, right? I'm like, this composition is really great. So, my fingers get numb and tired after a while, right? And then all of a sudden it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, I have to wake up at 6 or 5, it's beautiful. Beautiful when there's just this flow, right? Because it's not for an audience. And again, you know what? Even with this non-duality, I went, I pissed off a lot of people when I started doing this kind of thing
yeah,
because it
oh, I'm
it
sure.
it took away a lot of that. I'm making it so accessible and so ordinary, right?
Yeah.
And very effective at the same time, right?
Hmm.
And I call it all out. You know what I'm saying? Just being direct, right? Because my again, this is just a story. My alliance is only with the person in front of me. I want them to stop the seeking and see this clearly without the influence of my thoughts, my beliefs, and everything. So we go in between, and that's why we just have these stories. So there's no more hierarchy, right? Because so it's changing the rule that speakers and teachers and coaches and all that kind of stuff are above you because it's just
And
codependency.
yeah, I never really understood. And just anytime I saw a speaker with photographs of somebody else,
Yeah, yeah,
oh man, that at first it was like, okay, acceptable because that's how it is. And then after a while, it's like, what what what's the dinosaur in the picture for? And they were great people, I'm sure.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
But why are you pushing the people that are listening to you to look at it and look at you sitting in that chair
Yeah,
with all the flowers and the beads and the white robes and
that's what it was. When the second time around of me kind of like, I'm expressing this again, my very first event, live event in person, I walked into a room
oh
and it was in Vancouver, and there was a chair and there were flowers, and everybody was hushed and quiet, right? They were like, "Ooh." I gave the flowers away. I'm like, okay, I ripped apart the flowers and started giving it to people. I'm like, okay, let's change this, right? This is, you know, this is not, you will never be free if you look up to me,
yeah.
because you'll always think that I have something that you do not have, right? When it's just a thought, it's just an idea. Um, and and then I sat with everybody on equal terms, right? And the moment I see like a young ingenue or a young, um person, I'm saying, traveling and getting into this non-duality thing, and they're sitting like a guru in front, I'm like, oh, that's going to be a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of suffering. It's it it feeds that narcissistic need to be like,
Hmm.
what I'm saying, to be elevated, to be revered, and that kind of stuff. I
I'm
went
glad you
I
sur
went in
I'm
I
glad you
went to that.
survived it.
Yeah, I went to that path, right? And it was just, towards the end of it, it was just torture, right? People would look at me with glazed eyes, and I would enter a room and people started crying. And but I've already seen the smoke and mirrors of this, because I saw Michael Jackson live in concert, and no guru has ever reached that status. Everybody was fainting in a stadium. It's just fanaticism. So there's nothing special about the guru. It's just people are just fanatic. It's their belief that they have something, that they are stepping into the presence of a divine, and they convince themselves that um, that's God,
Yeah.
and that's separation right away,
Yeah.
right? But they've got nothing on Michael Jackson, because whole rows of people were fainting the moment he stares here, a whole bunch of people, and then he looks at the other side, and then he stared right at me, and I was like holding on to whatever I was holding on to. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the most powerful man on the planet. But again, that image can also change. Like, look at what happened to him, of how the public, um, um,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. It's all an appearance.
Yeah.
When I'm going to stop the